to me was intuition. And then I thought, conscious intuition? Really? That sounds strange. I think I never used those two words combined. And then I had a bit of a chat inside of my head in terms of, well, intuition in itself, isn't it something that is defined by not being conscious, but there? Or is it the other way around, that you're so conscious about it that you know that it is intuition? And I didn't get to any answer. And then I thought, well, then it's perfect to take it into a group discussion today. And so my question today is, how consciously aware are you of your intuition? What would you say? Yes, Ramesh, please start.
It takes time every time you put a question to, how do you say, to dive inside consciously to give that answer about this conscious topic. So for me, intuition, most of the times now, I just do whatever that just pops up.
Mm-hmm.
And I do spend very little time to understand if it is coming from my, noisy thoughts or from a calm space. I stopped analyzing it and I just do everything that just pops out.
Mm-hmm.
And once things are completed, when I look back, I do realize that is not coming from the space of the thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I never consciously put effort to understand if things that I'm doing or things that I'm hearing or things that come through are coming from a space of intuition or coming from a different space. Because I kind of, when I put an effort to understand, again, I kind of feel that I will lose the thrill, not thrill, let's say I will lose that the being of doing.
Mm-hmm.
And rather will be more on analyzing and thinking where it is coming from. So I would say most of the times, I don't say, 70% or even more, it is not coming from the head space or an analytical space.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the workplaces. Yeah, workplaces, it could be a little bit different.
Yes.
But
yes.
if I speak about, day-to-day life wherein we are doing things related to our personal things, yes. Yeah. So I can't exactly say if it is a conscious, how I'm conscious about intuition, or I'm just living things that they just come. So maybe you need to help me to rearrange it.
I guess I get where you're, let's say, struggling, because that is where I was struggling today as well. Because being conscious about something, I guess, does not necessarily need to mean that you analyze it. I would say an intense awareness can also be conscious about something. So what I, for myself, found out, interestingly enough, is I need to take a bit of a loop here. In February, I was on a session with a friend of mine who is a shamanic. Let's say he is influenced shamanically. He's not a shamanic himself, but he has done shamanic practices. And he said something that I never forget about afterwards, and that really accompanies me, because what he says was, intuition is always faster than the mind. And since then, I get aware that some interesting things sometimes happen within me. There comes like a word from nowhere, or a yes, or a very strong message, most of the times very short. And then my mind jumps on the message and tries to judge it and to analyze it. And then the message is not clear anymore, right? It is kind of something is add to it, another word, or a kind of a judgment or whatever. And this is where I personally understood that this first message is the intuition. And then the mind comes saying, yes, let's jump onto that and make that something different and measure it and judge it and just take it away from being intuitive so that the mind can take over control again. And I guess some of that is what I heard in what you said in terms of you, when it comes immediately to you and you act on it. You don't measure or analyze it. But honestly, meanwhile, I have the awareness of this first message. And so I would say that is conscious intuition in the way I get as close as I can, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you, Ramesh?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. I'm happy that I'm not alone with that.
And I really like the way you said, and it's exactly true what your friend Shaman, he said. Yes, the intuition is faster than the mind.
Mm-hmm. And it was like such a small sentence made such a huge difference in my life, actually, really. And I would like to read out what we have on the chat about the question and the topic so far. So Kinari writes, I wasn't before, but nowadays I can see that if I say something, mostly it comes true. Mm-hmm. So maybe that is also saying it without like saying it from the pure place, not saying it from a place that has already judged it or adapted it or whatever. Right. Thank you, Kinari. Mugda says, no, I'm not aware of intuition. Still, I'm not able to define it exactly. Thank you, Mugda. And I really find it so hard to get an understanding of what intuition is, right? Because understanding means kind of understanding it. And this is not possible because intuition is not coming from the mind, right? Kinari again says, I think as meditation increases, it comes naturally. Mm-hmm. So in meditation, strengthening intuition, the interesting thing is it strengthening intuition? Is it strengthening a consciousness for intuition? Is it strengthening consciousness? And from there, the awareness of intuition? So you see where my mess came from that I wanted to discuss it with all of you today? So, good evening, Master. What was the question, is Madhavi asking? The question was, how aware or conscious are you about your intuition? Madhavi, that was the question. So Kinari said she agrees with me, which I'm happy about because it again means I'm not alone with this kind of interesting mess that you can try to unfold here and get a bit of more clarity in. And now Nikita writes, I'm confused with the word intuition, whether to believe it or not. Sometimes there are negative intuitions, and when that happens, it hurts like everything else. Thank you so much, Nikita. That is interesting. And Madhavi is here as well and wants to add something. So please come to us, Madhavi, and share with us.
I mean, the topic you get so interesting, Jana. Good evening, everyone, masters, actually. Yes. Every time I don't want it to miss because of my work, and I always try to shuffle myself to come and listen. All the masters, Monday there's one master, Tuesday there's one, Wednesday Thursday, there is Master, then Thursday. I'm so eager to listen all the conscious and institutions and the sharings what they do. It's really, and when you say that conscious institutions, it's for me, it's like a spark. You know,
Mhm.
the like for example, how should I say? Maybe I wanted to cook something. I
Mhm.
find something else in the garden. I don't know the recipe, but I just think that, okay, these are the vegetables I have. Let me do something else. So it's like kind of something which is coming inside
Mhm.
without even thinking or without even writing or without even looking at around, just like that. But just now, I think somebody said that the institution can be negative as well. So this kind of spark, it can lead to the negative as well as the positive. It might end up in a good recipe for
Mhm.
sure, or
Mhm.
it could end up in something else.
So you mean a mess, a kitchen mess?
Exactly. Because you don't know the recipe, you don't think, or you don't have a logical thinking, but you just thought that, okay, this is pack, I have to do it.
Mhm.
And that could really sometimes gives both the views, I think. This is what I personally experienced with my institution.
Thank you, Madhavi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. And also, Nikita, thank you for sharing your thoughts on um, all the different aspects of intuition. And because a lot of times we talk about intuition is the voice to follow and it is the right answer, right? And then you just write that sometimes, well, I follow my intuition and then things happen and that it hurts like everything else. Um, I would love to share something which is only my experience, my thoughts around this. And I explicitly really, really want to say this is not science. I don't say that this is truth. I share what I for myself personally found out about that. Because I totally know what you mean. Because I think there is intuition and that there is a gut feeling coming from, let's say, our shadow child. And they're very close in similar places inside of us. So the one is the intuition coming from our sunny side, and the other one is the voice that might come from trauma, from a not nurtured place. And it can be very tricky to understand whether what is upcoming and guiding us is truly the intuition or the voice of, let's say, the shadow child, the child that has experienced the traumas of our life. And I this week found a really, really interesting saying actually from Mahatma Gandhi. No, it wasn't Gandhi. It was, who was it? Anyway, I don't get it, but it really hit me hard in that sense because the saying was, may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. And I think there is so much in this that when we choose from our real intuition, it indeed comes from hope and the knowing that life is a good place. When we choose from, let's say, the concerns we have due to experiences in life or the trauma aspects of our gut feeling, because it's there as well, right? It's part of our experience in life, and our brain also wants us to care for us. So there are aspects that say, danger, don't go there. Or and then those choices might come from fear. And so I think, though I probably don't get 100% clear because this is still a beautiful mess, but I think there are those two voices inside of us. It's not always easy to understand whether it is truly intuition or maybe the voice of our, yeah, I would call it shadow child. This aspect of ourself that wants to keep us from harm, let's say it like that, due to the wrong experiences in life. Does that make sense to you, Nikita? Can you relate to that? Or would you say, no, Jana, this time I don't get it? Okay, great. And as I say, this is only my experience, my way of perceiving life and the way I try to differ, because I totally know where you're coming from with this thing of how on earth can I be so misled by a voice that came so strong from the gut feeling. But there is a difference between the gut feeling and our intuition. And this is indeed something which is quite physical, because we have a part of our brain that is the amygdala, which is a part that comes from very, very old times. And that tries, one of its purposes is trying to keep us from harm, right? In the amygdala, there is also the aspect that tries to keep us like that where fear is activated. Interestingly enough, this aspect of the brain is not linked to the parts of the brain where our speech is activated. So a lot of gut feeling that is about danger is something that is sent from the brain to our body because we can't speak it. We can't get words for it, right? And so there is a kind of a voice from the gut that is not the intuition, but indeed comes from the brain. And from the brain that is an aspect of the former time brain that wants to tell us danger. This is danger. Yes, so I find that it's the limbic system, actually. Thank you. Now I have it. It's whatever comes from the limbic system, we can't express it in words. It goes down to a type of gut feeling. Let's see what else comes up in the chat. Can we discuss the relationship between intuition and meditation? It would be good to know the master's personal experiences on this. Yes. Who of you would like to share your experiences with how meditation relates to intuition? So many experienced meditators here, way more experienced than me. I would love your experiences. Ramesh?
I will share what comes to me now. The statements that you referred earlier, is meditation helping us to become more conscious? Is that consciousness making us more aware of the intuition, or is it that it is improving the intuition? So I think meditation is about making us aware and aware and aware. So, and then we relate to already what you said, which was our intuition is much faster than the mind. So as with the practice of meditation, we are just simply becoming aware, and we just become aware of that which is already there, which is intuition in that case. So we also become aware what is coming spontaneously, naturally, and what is it that is being analyzed, and then let's say modified due to those two spaces you said, which is coming from amygdala because of fear or whatever, or is it still remaining pure? So at least from my little from my experience and what I get now is, yes, meditation is just refining, sharpening our awareness. We were already intuitive, we were already sharp in our awareness. It's just like the knife that goes blunt if it is not used, or if it just get rust. And meditation is just that way to let's say, calibrate it. Yeah.
So when I get you right, what you say is intuition is bringing us in the state of being much better aware of intuition, of a lot of things. Not only intuition, but intuition is one thing that we get a sharpened awareness for due to meditation. Is that right? Did I get that?
I think that is how it is. And then, as I said, my personal experience, I do not even look if it is coming from intuition or where it is coming from. I just do what just pops out. So, yes, I think everyone will have a say. So I'm also curious to hear every master who is here.
And I'm curious on the next master who wants to talk about it, Ram, because it is Madhu. Madhu, please share with us right after your husband.
Hi, Jana. Good to
Hi,
see you.
Madhu. Yes.
My
So
intuition says we have to hear and we have to agree what Madhu says.
And my intuition says you're in trouble, Ramesh.
not at all. I agree with Ram and I agree with everyone here. And the first thing is, I was really, when this topic came to me, I was little surprised, like conscious intuition. What does it mean? Like being consciously taking the messages that we are getting instantly. Because for me, I believe that before the mind comes into the place, if you are taking any decision, so in that decision, whatever the first thought that comes to you is from your intuition. That is what I've been knowing, and I've been implementing it. So sometimes, as Nikita said, it might lead to not good experiences, but still there is something that I have to learn from it. So that is why I whatever comes to me, I just follow. And when Ram said that like we are already intuitive, when we are actually intuitive beings actually. Then what happened is, like with the traffic in our mind, we could not able to relate whether it is from the intuition or the gut feeling, or it is our thoughts that are making. So recently I've been observing my friend's daughter Ananya. Like, so what happens is, whenever she's we think that she's going to hit something, but she doesn't hit, as if something inside her gives a message that no, she has to turn. And we could able to see how easily she could able to like not get hurt. And at the same time, it's like a featherly movement that she does, and everything is okay, like so I think from we get intuitions from birth, but later we have accumulated so much things into ourselves that we actually forgot how to listen to ourselves. And relating it to meditation, when you practice more and more meditation, you reduce the frequency of the thoughts. So when you reduce the frequency of the thoughts, you are very clear, you are much aware, and you're much conscious of what is coming to you. You start to listen to yourself. So sometimes it might not lead to a good experiences, but still there is a learning. So that understanding you get when you start to do things intuitively, like. So there are so many times that we in the sessions, we decide intuitively, we decide, okay, now we have to do sessions, now this program we have to do, now this event we have to do. Sometimes we expect that there will be too many people, but still there will be very little people. But that gives a lot of contentment that yes, for that people, this event have been created. So we should always listen to the intuition. So come what may, drop the expectations, and whether it leads to a good results or not good results, just have to just follow. So this is what I I do, and I practice, Jana.
Thank you, Madhu. So would you say there is a difference between saying the intuition knows what's right, but that doesn't mean that what is right for us will always be, let's say, good in the way we would define it as good, like a happy end.
Right, right, exactly.
So there is a difference between it is right for us and and being only positive for us.
Yes, exactly. Because we put the mind to it that it is not good and it is good. But when we drop this mind that yes, there is something that I have to learn from this. That's why I have followed my intuition. So there is always learning in whatever you decide, and it is your choice. You had taken a decision. So sometimes it might lead to good, sometimes it might not lead to good, but still it is your choice, and there is a great learning in it. Yeah, it is true, Yana.
Thank you. Thank you, Madhu. Anyone else of you masters who would like to share the experience of the relation between meditation and intuition? Then I would like, yes, Madhavi, please share with us.
As I said just now, like my institution is like a spark. I don't think and I don't logically act or anything. I just if I feel like I just do it. Like as Madhu mentioned just now, it's like a feather, It's like how the Ananya acts it. Even though she wants to fall or just to turn back, she just does like that, like a child. So my institution is also like that. In case if I want to do something, I really don't ask anyone. I really don't sit for a while, to meditate and to get the answer. I don't do anything. I just do it. And you're right. When we do such thing, we'll end up with a good as well as bad experience. But it's okay. It's fine. As Mother said, it's my institution or it's my thought which made me to initiate myself. So, if you ask me personally, my experience on this topic, I worked for more than 10 or 11 years at SAP. And then they had an issue with the legal issues and everything. And then I have to leave the company because, And then my boss said that you can stay with me in the family business and everything. So, my institution that time, it said that I cannot go into the family business because I had a German, I don't know if I go into the German family, what will happen because my boss likes me so much. A lot many thoughts, I don't know because it's a family business, right? And I am included in in that. And my institution said that, Madhvi, this is not a good choice. Just leave it. So I have to leave. And everybody was shocked that it's an SAP company and your boss is so good. And why did you quit? And I could not share this with anyone. And my husband says that, come on, he's such a good boss. And you were the first person who never left him more than 12 years. That's just like a bond or it's like a relationship. And I was, after that, it was a disaster because I didn't get the jobs. I didn't get anything. But later on, I was happy with my institutions. Then I asked my girlfriends to do something else, and but when I put it in my profile in the Facebook, or no, not in the Facebook, sorry, in the Zing, there is a German site Zing. As soon as I kept only my picture, not even I completed, I got a calls from so many companies. Like, we would like to have you like onboarded, and I did not even apply. The company which I'm working now is Tekra. It's one of the biggest companies also here. It's a insurance company. And they just invited me, and I had 5 rounds of interview, and I had much bigger position than SAP. Yeah, but the thing is, I always felt that, why did my boss ask me to join that institution? That it's like kind of good as well as the bad. But I'm happy that I got I got another position. I got this thing. But later on, I understood that he wants to, because I love garden. And then he said that I will be managing more onto the grape gardens and the all other things. That was the thing. Then I understood, and my institute made me so clear about everything. Like, so that's how I think I will act it, because even though it is very tough, and sometimes I don't know, because I'm joining a family. I really don't want to make any mess. That institution came up with me, and I have to quit. So, I mean, maybe it is wrong, my thinking or my thought, but it's okay. I've seen a different company now. I've seen a different experiences. And then now I come after 3 or 4 years, I think my boss came back, my ex-boss came back and said that that was the reason I asked you to, I did not ask the question, but that was the reason came up. So then everything is very clear now. So I think that institution made me really a good choice, I think, though it was very tough. And everybody asked, are you stupid, Madhvi, that you're leaving SAP? It's because it's nearby to my house, and Stuttgart is far away. I have to go for 1.5 hours. And what are you saying? And you have to manage the family. But it's okay. that was my institution. That was my the inner child, or the inner Madhvi has said me, it's okay. It's okay to quit sometimes. So, and I'm here now. So, and then I have nice people around, and really I'm
Great.
trying to share this. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. Thank you for sharing. Madhavi, what came up to me in there was that though your intuition in the beginning maybe has kind of caused a mess, you following your intuition in the end made it all become totally clear.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it can be messy in between following the intuition, but
Yes.
if you, as you followed through the whole time, in the end, looking back at it, it all became very clear. Was that how you would describe it?
Yes, that is what I described it just now, as Madhu mentioned it just now. The institution, when you have that first thought or the first thing which is sparked in you, it can be a good or bad, but it's an experience of yours. So for me, it was like really, it's kind of a puzzle and messed up, but at the end, it is so clear. And then I thought that my institutions were good. It's right, Madhvi, it's good for you, for me, and it for everyone as well, maybe. So I think that was the best choice what I did. Before
Thank
it was
you,
like a
Madhavi.
mess. Or yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you
the
so
wonderful
much.
session. Actually,
Mugda wrote an interesting question as well, because what Mugda wrote is, if the intuition is faster than the mind, is it impulsive sometimes then? Would you say so? What are your experiences around that? As it is faster, is it impulsive?
I don't have any experience about intuition, but just as you said, it is faster than mine. Then this question came in my mind.
And I really find it a good question. Anyone else who would like to share something on that question of you? Because if not, I can again share my experience, which is, there is no proof about that, but what I understand for myself, I actually can or have been a person that, let's say, impulse control has been quite a challenge in my life for a long time. And so there was a lot of back and forth in my life. And I would say I was impulsive in how I took my decisions. Since I get closer and closer to connecting with my intuition, what I see happening is my intuition is fastest and brings up a message. And the message might be only a word sometimes. And sometimes it's a sentence of 3 words. Mostly it's quite short. And then my mind comes and jumps on it and says, really? Well, I don't see it that way. I would put it that way. And this is where my impulsiveness comes in. My experience with my intuition is strong and clear. But it's sometimes so short that it's hard to understand when intuition is, let's say, occupied by my mind. And when my mind occupies it, then it feels like impulsiveness and a discussion back and forth. Does that make sense to you, Mugda?
Yes, but I really didn't understand it is what it is exactly. Once again, can you please?
Yes. For example, I have a really clear example, an easy example, actually. I hope easy. So I have been sitting on the balcony of friends of mine. I have been there for the weekend, and they went out for the evening. So I was alone at their place at that evening, and I asked myself, what is it that I want to do tonight? And it was one of those days where like on the balcony, it has been connected to nature, huge wide view into nature. So I was quite calm in my demeanor. And I had this question of, what am I going to do tonight? And really, I can only say out of nowhere, there was this one word coming up, dancing. Only this one word. And I kind of knew that's a different place. That's not from here. That's from somewhere here. And then my mind jumped on it. Dancing. You're alone at home at your friend's place. And you want to dance? Sure. No, we're not going to dance. This is ridiculous. Right? And so there was this kind of impulsiveness in terms of something inside of me said dance. And then my mind said, no, we're not going to dance. And this is where impulsiveness comes in a different discussion about back and forth. In the end, I decided to dance, and I danced all alone in the place of my friends at night. And it really felt very right. But before that, there was kind of an impulsive discussion that was rising from my mind judging what my intuition had brought up. Does that make a bit more sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. With example, it became very
okay.
clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't want to say that this is how it is for everyone. Really not. I can only say my experience with,
exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sumati.
Thank you, Jan.
Yes, a pleasure, Mukta. Sumati, please share with us.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Yes, I believe I recognized my intuition when I was a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be very spontaneous or impulsive, as you call it.
Mm-hmm.
With no, as a teenager, you are engulfed by your mood, isn't it? You're a teenager, and you could just utter certain things when you're hurt with no malicious intention. And I've seen that happening. And I've made impulsive decision,
Mm-hmm.
and I follow it through, and it's been successful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great enlightenment in my life. So I really don't know what is it, spontaneity, impulsiveness, gut feeling. I have no clue, but I follow it through. That's my experience, and I live by it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Sumati. So it's again the experience that as long as you follow through, it might be messy in between the process, but as long as you follow through, it makes sense. Is that what you say?
It's the best solution.
Great. So you're highly inviting everybody to follow through to this intuitive voice or message, even if it is messy in between. As long as you follow through, it's the best decision you can make.
It may be messy. Sometimes it may not be messy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But sometimes, I don't know, when you say conscious intuition, I don't know if something has been planted unconsciously into us. Something you may have seen or heard. And then that's why you're thinking conscious intuition. I don't know. Because such a thing has happened to me as well. When I was concerned about someone's health, and then suddenly I was discussing about that person and to someone else, just purely being concerned about the health. And that someone told me, maybe a small jolt in the physic in the body may scare the person. And but that was, I think, at the back of my mind. And suddenly when I felt that person, when the person is not doing justice to the body, I just spontaneously said, you don't know what's going to happen unless you get ... And the person actually got ... next day. I didn't go on a guilt trip. I don't want to think I'm the person for it, but it just made me reflect. Then I thought over the years, maybe that was in my subconscious mind. And that seed was planted. Hence I said that. And that person really took ill the next day. So, yeah, so I don't know. And then sometimes you're just concerned, watch the tongue, but these are things that comes out spontaneous You don't think there was an act of maliciousness. You just say it. But now, after getting into meditation, I'm just very wary and very mindful, because I have seen, my, whatever you call it, intuition or planting the seed or spontaneity has sort of happened and unfolded. But if there's something and there's no logical reasoning, I would just follow it. I don't give a damn, even if it's my children or my husband or my loved one would say, no, I don't think. I just follow what I feel is right. And it's been productive. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Sumati. So there was a lively discussion. We don't have any further questions in the chat. And I think from the topic of the beginning of conscious intuition, we came closer to intuition itself in the discussion. But in the end now, I really would love to ask you again, what did you gain from this discussion? How consciously aware can we be about intuition?
Hi, Jana.
Hi, Sumati.
Sounds funny.
Yeah.
I think back to conservativeness of gut feeling and just follow the voice.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
There's something out there guiding you.
Mm-hmm.
Universal voice. You just know it. It's a transference of thought process.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Great.
And I think, honestly, coming to think of it, each of us are at a different plane of consciousness, awareness,
Mm-hmm.
experiences in terms of self-belief, religious belief, meditational plane. And we all acquire this so-called intuition in our own ways. And I think what's worked, just keep going with that rather than analyzing it
Mm-hmm.
or debating with it. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. So what I get from this is you can be conscious about what worked for you in terms of intuition, but please don't try to be conscious in an analyzing way about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a track record that it's been fine, just go with it.
Great.
And ultimately, there's a divine force that's connecting us. And if it's worked, it definitely works. And if it doesn't work, there's a lesson to be learned there.
Great. Thank you, Sumati. So there is M raising the hand. I'm not sure whether this is Madhu or someone else, but M, please share with us.
Hi, Jana. It's Mridula.
Hi.
I finally get to your sessions. I missed most of it. I just came to my car for lunch. I got the last few minutes.
Amazing to have you here, Mridula.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you. So intuition, as we know, is a gut feeling that we get. And the only thing I can think of conscious intuition is that when we feel the intuition, it's actually most of the time it's right for us. But when we feel the intuition for somebody else, there's a saying, you can take the horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Mm-hmm.
So we can have intuition about other people, but we just can express, but then we cannot judge them or want them to do it if they feel that, because they didn't get that intuition, we did. We can always direct, somebody very close to us. Like, you hear people having premonitions, which is separate from intuition, but, and then they tell their husband or spouse or whatever, I have a feeling this is going to happen today, just to be careful. But that's a whole separate issue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we all should follow our gut instinct. I really think that's the whisper of our soul. And we should be very conscious and alert when we when we hear that inner voice, that intuition, and we definitely should follow that because that is something that is coming from inside us. We may not have an answer, we may not know why, but most of the time, I think it really guides us well. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Mridula. So good to have you here and that you share your experience, your wisdom with us as well. Great.
Thank you, Jana. It's a nice topic. I'm all into intuition because many things over the life have guided me only on gut feeling. I knew my job, my whatever, friendships, circumstances, everything was guided by, the bigger picture was guided by intuition. So, and when I was younger, I think I didn't pay attention so much. But as I'm meditating and getting older, when I reflect back, I sometimes wish I didn't ignore my intuition in the past. It came to that. So now whenever I feel something, I pay attention to it, I listen to it, and I heed to it, and always directs me, for myself, it directs me correctly.
Thank you, Mridula.
So I don't know if that's a topic, but that's what I thought of when I was listening. So
yeah, that's great.
Sorry I missed all of it in the beginning. I'll listen on the YouTube.
No, we're happy to have you here whenever you can make it. So thank you. And I just had this thought that it seems to be interesting that children have a strong intuition. And then there comes this time as a young adult where we kind of seem to lose connection to intuition. And then it comes back in the later years for many of us, at least, in a way. It's an interesting journey there, wherever this might come from. Mugda shares something with us that I would like to read out. Impulsiveness is the term which is without meditation. Intuition is the term which can be developed very positively only and only with meditation. Mugda, would you like to explain it a bit for us? How you mean that?
Yes, as we said, when we are children, we have intuition, but as we grow up and especially become young, then youngsters are mostly very impulsive. And when they become adult, then maybe they have intuition. But if someone wants conscious, as you said, conscious intuition instead of impulsiveness, then meditation helps in that process a lot, and it becomes faster to come out from impulsiveness and to get into intuition.
Great. Thank you. So you would say actually this would be indeed an interesting awareness from our discussion today, that meditation is the way into conscious intuition. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. As I got this from this discussion, this is not my thought actually before this discussion, but as I'm getting this thought from this discussion.
Yeah, and it to me it currently totally makes sense. So not only from the discussion today, but from my experience since when intuition gets stronger for me, and since when I have an awareness of it. So it's strongly related to the time that I started to meditate very frequently. So that makes a lot of sense to me in that sense. Yes. Thank you. So Marty, you want to share something with us as well?
Yes, there are two things. One is based on the question how one would have intuition, and then it goes off, and then it could surge or not surge later. From my observation, I have known people who are older than me and whom I love and respect a lot. I've gone through this, and then I have then realized and told that person, see, you had this great gift of having the intuition, And I feel it's just subsiding and lost now. But I was able to, though I was much younger, I was able to just understand that because the mind was not focused, the mind was all over the place, having A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z to do. But if the mind was focused in well-being, in supporting others, charity, and not being stressed out, that's when the power of intuition would blossom.
Mm-hmm.
When one is in rocky boat in a stormy weather, it's just a metaphor, you tend to lose it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically you need to declutter the mind. I've seen that, and I felt that was my at that very young age, I picked this up. And the other thing with what the master said just now about intuition connecting to meditation, only now I have the concept of meditation, and I've crossed 50. But before that, I didn't have the concept of meditation, but I had the concept of bhakti, going through the righteous pathway as per, being a Hindu, it was Sanatana Dharma.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to be honest to tell you, it's only not meditation. It's beyond that. It's what you are, who you are, how you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that matters. And the more straight, open, clear, honest you are, all these great gifts will come to you flowing. I have to be honest, it's just not only meditation. Yes, you go to another step and you come into meditation, or meditation flourish your pathway, you can sharpen it and grow into it. But it's not only meditation.
I just have some goosebumps. I would love to have a session with you on Bhakti. So, because I'm from a Christian background, I have I mean, I have a glimpse from what you said now, but of course I don't have a true idea. So maybe you can share a session on it with us one day, because I really would like to get more about it, to know more about it.
Yes, a lot of things, I will be honest, a lot of things that's happened to me, I was not in meditation. It was purely bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been abroad as a student, as unmarried, when I was not married, and even married, it was purely bhakti. I have to say this. Yes, meditation is the next fold of progression, and I stand by it. And I think ultimately it's your thought process. Ultimately, it's your thought process. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sumati. Thank you for sharing. And there are some people in the chat just agreeing totally with you on that. Manisha, you are raising your hand. Would you like to share with us?
Yes, it's my favorite topic.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi.
Because, hello, hi. It is my favorite topic.
Mm-hmm.
I love intuition. Actually, in my childhood, what we were taught being in a convent school, that there's a higher self talking to you always. And that's what I feel the intuition is. That higher self, you keep taking guidance from there. So always I used to do that. Never had any thought else. And then later, somehow, as I grew up, I lost the track, the inner chattering and all. And then again, after coming into meditation, I think so. Right now, I have not developed that intuitiveness that was in my childhood. I think so that. But in one of my meditation experiences, I had this. Somewhere in a voice came dost. Dost in it is in Hindi, which says friend. And I was longing for friendships, where I lost some friends because they said that I needed some more beautiful friends. to be very frank, like the one who are meditators, the one who are more clear-hearted. So, and that came and suddenly it propped up and I had friends. And now I am feeling very good about it. That's
Great.
what I feel.
Thank you for sharing, Manisha. Thanks to all of you. We are like, I wouldn't have expected us to get it to an hour and even further, because there's still comments on the chat, and this is the longest session that we ever had on one of the topics for me, let's say it like that. Now, unfortunately, I need to leave right now, but Ramesh is so nice to take over from here, and I would just say, I leave for today. I come back to the session later on. I'm glad that it's recorded, because I want to see how you all go on in the discussion. Because I unfortunately have to leave, but I'm really glad that Ram is taking over here and is going to dive deeper into the discussion with all of you still. You're amazing. Thanks to all of you. I'm out of words, actually. You're amazing. And I'm looking forward to go back to the further discussion. And I already took some really, really great new insights for me from what we shared here. So thanks to all of you. Thanks to Ram for taking over. And I'm looking forward to see all of you next week again.
Thanks a lot, Jana. Thank you. Thank you. You always come with this beautiful, beautiful, everyone will come forward and share their wisdom. So thank you. Thank you for these things.
Thank you for the possibility, and thanks to everyone here who's sharing. Thank you. Nothing would work here without your engagement. I'm always looking forward to the Thursday. So see you all on next Thursday. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes. Yes, Mridulaji. Yeah,
I wanted to comment. I know Sumati brought up a very good topic. Since we have the devotion, the emotional connection to God and bhakti, which I think is not that, it's a different language in the Christian and Islamic faith, but everybody has a sense of devotion. And it's true. I mean, we're not born with meditation. We're born with an inner instinct. And, if we have the bhakti and, the emotional attachment of faith and, especially the devotion to what we call God, but the God is within us. So that intuition was always, the divine is within us. The intuition was always within us since childhood. It is true that we get distracted because our life, I don't know why we became like this, our society, we're not still anymore. We get up and we're born, and then we have to go to school, and then we have to have education, and then we have to have, tests and, and advancement, and then job, and then marriage and children. It's like we created this pattern. But our being itself, nobody asked us to do that. We are a divine being. We're supposed to exist in the world. We're supposed to enjoy nature. We're supposed to do all these things. But somehow I feel like meditation grounds us. But it's true, we're not born with meditation, but we have the intuition. I've had it since I can remember. And like I said, I could always count on it because it really helped me in my life. And, I'm getting close to 60 soon. So, so it was very, it was a very good conversation. And it's true. I mean, and whatever we feel is right, because that's our soul, our gut, our intuition speaking to us. When we express, it's our feeling, it's our thought, and we're just expressing. It may be different for somebody else, and that's correct also, because that's who they are and how they're perceiving their life. So yeah, it's a very good conversation today. I'm glad I joined. I sometimes don't get away until afternoon, but today I was able to join a few minutes before noon. So lovely shares. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I'm going to listen again.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, indeed. It is just about connecting to our natural states And meditation seems a big word, seems like doing, but in meditation, we are not doing. So if we are connected to that natural state, we are, let's say, truly connected. And if that connection is happening just because you are with your open eyes, looking at a flower, you are doing anything and just being there, you are connected. So it could be prayer, it could be anything. And what you have shared and what Sumati ji had shared, it's wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. Yes, Sumati ji.
I also want to mention something, Ramji, that when I once spoke to Madhuji, she said, it's from bhakti that we then progress to meditation. Like it all culminates together. But it's good not to disregard one to the other, because when you come into the realm of meditation, you then realize the other bits, why, what, sometimes you look at things logically. Sometimes you think, so what? Nothing wrong went on. Good things happen. Meditation is just another added big gift into that box of goodness of us. That's
so it's like nothing in creation is existing without a great reason. So every practice, everything in our life, every experience is part of that greatness. So we only have great regard to everything once we see a bigger picture. So what you say is completely beautiful, Sumatiji.
And also, Ramji, I feel that it is not an overnight process when you have acquired and accepted the concept of meditation and soul's journey to just drop practices. I know I've attended so many meditation and I've heard so many things. Sometimes all these are for our happy hormone, for our dopamine, oxytocin, your serotonin, endorphin. You just need that happy hormone. And if it makes you feel good, it doesn't matter. When it's not disrupting or ruining, I think it's okay. So we have a choice of dropping something totally into meditation or still keeping with our past practices or habits or whatever. Having said all this, I had my own thoughts and I've been sitting on the fence and what am I doing with, but I think we just progress. One leads to the other, because at the end of the day, it's sharpening your mind and your thought process and to be a better person holistically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, friends, let us now have a dive into ourselves. Kindly take a relaxed posture. Cross your legs. Clasp your hands. Close your eyes.